Yeah. Roll up the green, hit the links with RGB. Pitch, putt, and puff, it's our podcast theme. Talking Burton bogeys, hole in one dream. Golf cart cruising, we're the illest team. Pitch, putt, and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff. Got my clubs in the trunk, blunt in the front. Tee off in the noon, cause we don't bunt. Discuss in the course, weed strains for lunch. Straight shooters on the greens, not a front. Pitch, put and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff. Smoking aces, laces tied tight. With a puff we fly, elevate the night. Golf ball soaring, higher than a kite. Fairway to heaven, shining real bright. Pitch, put and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff.
And we're back here with another episode of the Pitch, Putt, and Puff podcast. My name is Roger, a.k.a. RGB. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Before we get rolling with our guest tonight, going to take a quick second and give a shout out to a couple sponsors, starting off with Transcend Wellness. Make sure you guys go check out Transcend Wellness, located at 289 Oakwood Avenue in Troy. Stop in there, check them out. Everything you're looking for: flower, pre-roll, edibles, tinctures, vapes, you name it, they got it. Also is the first New York State licensed dispensary to have a drive-through. So make sure you guys go take advantage of that. The weather is starting to warm up, but if you still don't feel like getting out of your car, pull right up like a bank, man. You just place your order online, you pull right through the drive-thru. Also, if you don't feel like leaving the house at all, you can set up a delivery service at transcendwps.com and let the guys know the Pitch, Putt, and Puff crew sent you. Great staff over there, Junior and Company, so make sure you guys stop in and check them out. Also, we got to give a shout-out to my guy over at, we're going to go with Shady Shafts. Make sure you guys go check out Shady Shafts. Use promo code PUFF20. PUFF20 will save you 20% at checkout. Shady Shafts brings you wraps for your irons, drivers, wedges. It doesn't matter. And there's a design for every golfer out there. So make sure you guys pop over to shadyshafts.com. Use promo code PUFF20. PUFF20 will save you 20%. Very easy to apply. Can be done within minutes. And like I said, a design for every golfer out there. shadyshafts.com. Promo code PUFF20. Save yourself 20%. Also, the guys over at Back Nine Botanicals. Make sure you guys check out Back Nine Botanicals. Promo code TPUFF10. Save yourself 10% at checkout. They got a cool merch line with some hats over there, a few shirts. Also, the gummies, the CBD gummies. Really a game changer in the golf world right now. They got the Moonlight Mulligan, the Tea Time Sunrise, the Birdie Boost, the Players Blend. Everything you're looking for in a CBD, something to get you throughout the whole day. Make sure you guys stop over there and check them out at Back Nine Botanicals. Once again, I got to give a dope shout out to the guy at Trouble Off the Tee, my man Marty, big supporter of the Pitch, Putt, and Putt from the jump. Marty was nice enough to send me some of his new edition hats here for his new drop. Real excited about that. We got the Scratch Golfer. We got, let's see, I'll Go Alone. The old Trouble Off the Tee, I'll Go Alone. What else did we get into? The Camels Chase with the bunker. I know Bub's a big fan of the bunkers. And then a Pitch, Putt, and Puff rule. We never lay up. So shout out Marty. He'll be on in a couple weeks. Real excited to get him back on. And then I got to give another shout out to Athletic, ATHLETHC. Make sure you guys check these guys out over at athletic.com. Use promo code PUFF for a special discount. These are THC derived mints. Game changer, really. It's basically microdosing cannabis in a way. 3 different ones. You got power, flow, and rebound. I like the rebound. It's nice for recovery, helps me sleep a little bit. So go check out Athletic, ATHLETHC.com. Use promo code PUFF for a special discount. And then we're going to take a quick second here, and we're going to bring on our guest. We're going to have Chad, my man from Twisted Foot, the bud tender to the stars. I'm back here on the Pitch, Putt, and Puff. Joining me tonight, he's a previous guest here on the Pitch, Putt, and Puff, co-owner of Twisted Foot. We got my man Chad. What's happening, buddy?
Good. What's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. Appreciate you hopping back on, man. It's been a while.
Of course, man. I enjoyed our conversation before, man. So
yeah, good. So Chad's from out in Colorado, co-owner, right? A Twisted Foot.
I'm one of the owners. Yep, I'm on the board of owners. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yep. So, Twisted Foot, as if for people who don't know, are basically I call them lighter charms.
Yep.
The right
Lighter
people? Yeah.
charms.
So it's basically a band that goes around your lighter, and you guys know in the cannabis game how many people steal lighters. This, like, I've had one of these. I still got one, rocking it, man.
Nice, dude.
The guy gave a bunch to the guys, golfing. Guys were using them as ball markers. Like,
Yep. They're really popular with ball markers. It's crazy, dude. I hear that often.
And then my favorite, I don't have one with me, was the vape charm. Those things are great because you can just stick it right up. Yeah, there you go. You stick it right on, dude. You stick it right on the golf cart, man. Right to the
right on the where the driving pole is, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I've actually seen a lot of them. I actually had a friend lose his and realized that that's where he stuck it in the middle. Getting high on the golf course.
Dude, luckily my buddy is works the carts, so he like puts the carts away at night. And he calls me one night. He goes, "Raj, what cart number did you have?" I was like, "I don't know, 26 or something." He goes, "I got your pen, bro." I'm like, "Oh shit, thanks, man." He goes, "I knew it was yours, dude. I knew it was yours." I'm like, "See, because of the charm, man. I'd be the only one sticking it up there."
That's so dope. I love that, dude. Yeah, man. Charms have been going crazy, man. We just launched some with Jeter, dude. Check it out. I don't know if you guys know Jeter.
Yeah, hell yeah. We're trying to get Jeter here in upstate New York, man. We can't get him up here.
Yeah, man. They're trying to expand. They're a fun company to be a part of. Actually, they launched we just did these 3-packs. We just launched our 3-packs, and they did them at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. And we're kind of promoting them as ball markers, dude. So it's super cool to be able to team up with Jeter and kind of be, have a presence in the golf world just like that,
That's awesome. I mean, they're one of the obviously bigger brands in the cannabis industry as it is too, if not the biggest.
Yeah, they're really, really good at branding themselves. Their products are awesome. Their products, every time I smoke with one of my homies and I smoke a Jeter, like, you're going to get fucked up, dude. Like, it's going to do the job, and you're going to get not only high, but very high. So.
Yeah, I've seen them down in the city a couple times when I go down there, but I've never seen them upstate. I'm up in the Albany area, so we don't get too much love up here, man. We're like the stepchild to the city, so
you guys got the best football team up in that area anyway of New York.
No, I'm Albany, so I'm probably 4 hours I'm closer to New York City than I am Buffalo.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Yeah,
man, I have wanted to spend some time in New York. That is one of the states that I never have, and I've always been drawn to come out and hang out in New York, dude.
Yeah, it's I mean, honestly, the best time to come up here is the fall. Like, the fall is beautiful up here when the leaves are changing colors and all that shit. Like, it's really dope up here in the fall.
Nice, man.
Especially up in like the Adirondack area, closer to Vermont and such. It's really nice up there.
Nice, man. Yeah, dude. I've seen parts of upstate, in pictures, and have friends from there, and I have friends that are from the concrete jungle, dude. All in between. I've had tons of New York friends, and everybody's usually super cool. They all have a little attitude because they got the little New York chip on their shoulder, dog. Mm-hmm. It's okay. We understand that. We calm you down out here in Colorado. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. So, I mean, we got into Twisted Foot the last time you were on. Excuse me. I heard you on the Clear podcast a little bit. I was listening to some clips of that. So
yeah,
I know
Monica's awesome, dude.
Yeah, she's really good. She know what I liked about her the best is like a lot of podcast hosts, you really don't see this, but they just listen. Let the person tell their story, kind of thing. And that's what kind of she was doing with you. And I was like, that's how you host it. You just sit back and like that's when, now that I listen to when I listen to a podcast or watch it, I'm listening like I'm half the time I'm half listening to the conversation and then half listening to like the host, or if I'm watching it on YouTube or whatever, I'm checking out what kind of equipment they're using.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's crazy. But there was a really good pod, man. You got some cool stories. So let's get into a little bit about your past. Like, how did you get into the cannabis industry to begin with?
Yeah, man. Basically, I moved out to Denver. I graduated from Arizona State University. I had to do an internship to finish up my degree, and I tried to get a job in the radio stations. I had wanted to be in radio because I was in radio in Northern Cali, and realized along my college career, I just kind of wanted to go there. So I was really kind of dead set at doing radio, and I couldn't get an internship in Phoenix at all. And so I shot it out to some of my homies back here in Denver, and they had me, they landed me a internship. Well, anyway, so it was an unpaid internship to be with Clear Channel. This was right when iHeart was about to take off. a couple years before iHeart, when it was still a little bit old school radio, you know what I mean? Still kind of had fun and stuff. But since it was an unpaid internship, I took a job where I would kind of take care of the cars in a car lot, not too far from the station, a couple miles, so I could ride my bike and shit, and just struggling senior, trying to make it, senior in college, just trying to make it at that point, and so I was kind of a lot boy, which was hilarious to me, but I had always enjoyed cannabis beforehand. And when I came out for my internship, I knew what was going on in cannabis in Denver at the time. This is 2007, 2008, right around.
Okay.
It was super underground still, but it was apparent. Everybody was just barely starting to talk about, did you know that Denver has legal weed? Did you know about that? You know what I mean? It was like super underground still for Denver. And so I was working at this lot, and this dude showed up, and all the salesmen were taken up and taken with customers. It was kind of a smaller lot, and I wasn't even dressed up. I was just me, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This dude rolled up and wanted to see a car, and I just took it upon myself. Like, okay, so I ended up selling the car to him, took him on a test drive.
That's awesome.
Well, he ended up owning a dispensary that was down the street from where the car lot was.
Okay.
There weren't too many dispensary owners around at the time. You know what I mean? So it was really interesting to have that conversation, and I didn't realize it, but I was kind of having a job interview at the time. But so he ended up paying for my medical card at the time because it was medical only. This is way before adult use and all that. And so I frequented his place for maybe a month and kind of got used to what they were doing there. He basically just had a bunch of young kids. Whoever wanted to be working at the place was working at the place. He was trying to just make it happen. And he basically fired his whole staff and hired me on, man. And I took on the whole dispensary by myself, man.
All because you took a chance at selling that car.
Yeah, man. It was totally
Crazy.
ironic. The universe works in a lot of different ways, man. My intentions with Lady Cannabis are crazy. And that's just one example. You know what I mean? Like, Lady Cannabis has guided me in more ways than I could ever even begin to describe on your podcast here, dude. So so it was, she wanted me to be in it. I refer to her as Lady Cannabis. I refer to myself as Ambassador Chad because I feel like I'm an ambassador to Lady Cannabis. I've introduced a ton of people to her. She showed up at a lot of parties with me. Some people don't like her, some people do, but I've been an ambassador to her, not only here in Denver, but now I get to in a bunch of other legal states now that there's more markets on. I've represented her in Jamaica during my Jamaica trip before, I walked with her, so.
That's dope, man. That's really dope. It's crazy too. Like, it's one of those things, like, it's kind of similar with me. Like, I've always been into cannabis and shit. And then it just got to the point where, not even because it was legalized, but it was to the point where I was like, I just, kind of be yourself kind of thing. And I wanted to do a podcast. So I was like, all right, me and the boys are out there burning it down every Sunday playing golf, or every time we go out and play golf. But, the whole crew's out there.
Yeah.
It's what we do. Let me figure out something catchy and try to be different. In a way, I trap myself in, like, a niche or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, that's who I am anyway. So it's just, I'm being myself. I don't have to be fake and pretend and all this shit. Like, oh, welcome to the podcast.
And that's what most of your listeners are wanting, is they're listening to you because you're you, just like we were talking about earlier, man.
Yep. And that's why that guy took the chance of you in the dispensary, because you hopped in the car with him, gave him the test drive, and you were being yourself.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Like, she kind of levels everything. She makes you kind of think a little bit better. Sometimes, she can help you find your words better. You know what I mean? So I actually used to use her initially. I got out of the military. I was in the military. That was where the podcast that you listened to had we stopped around the military time. But once I kind of got into cannabis, I was still pretty young. You know what I mean? But my whole body had kind of gotten wrecked from not only the military, but soccer as a kid and everything. And I had grown up with, alcoholic father, alcoholic brother. My dad worked at Coors, like literally at Coors, like so I had alcohol
out there.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, so by the time I was, getting out of college, my body was broken. And the biggest thing that I found with cannabis, aside from I wasn't throwing up and I could make my 9 a.m. classes at college and all my drunk friends were still passed out, was that I could actually relax my body and pop my back and I would be able to kind of pop myself and get myself more adjusted, and it took my pain away. Like,
Yeah.
It was a medicine immediately, you know?
Yep. Yep. And that's what people don't realize. And I think they're starting to realize, especially the older folks who were afraid of it for so long because they were told, you know, the DARE program scared the shit out of them. So the kids didn't go near it or whatever. But
It was super taboo, man. It was like witchcraft, dude. You know, I grew up my mom went to religious school. She was one of the kids that used to get a ruler from a nun across her knuckles when she fucked up. That's where I came from, dude. So like growing up, devil's lettuce was super devil's lettuce, man. Like I remember running into cannabis the first time when I was, 13, 14. And I stayed as far away from it as I could because I got told the world was going to come to an end if I even got close to it, you know?
I remember the first time I seen a bag, dude pulled it out. I was at a homie's house. We were probably like 12 years old, if that.
Yeah.
And this older kid pulled it like probably like an ounce or something out. I was like, I felt like I was in a movie, dude. I got up. I slowly walked towards the door, hopped on my bike, and I rode home. And I just like didn't go back to hang out until I knew that dude was gone. Like I was 10, 11. I didn't even know I was young, dude.
Yeah, man. And I mean, and that's what we were being taught by parents who were beaten. It was beaten into their head about how, I mean, there's,
it's going to kill you. It's toxic. It's a gateway drug and this and that.
The gateway was a huge one. Like you're going to throw your entire life away, dude. You're going to become a loser. You're going to be a nobody. All you have to do is be around it. You know what I mean? Like the taboo of it really, really, affected probably both of our upbringings in a lot of different ways. The funny thing about it is I never actually even smoked until I was almost 21, if you think that.
Yeah, I was like, I smoked a little bit in high school, but not a lot. And then I when probably 20, I started smoking, like being a regular smoker.
Yeah.
Because I was playing sports.
See, it was super taboo. And then I went to the military, like at a young, I was 18, 17 and a half, you know what I mean? So, I mean, went to the military quickly and then I fell into what I was doing, like I told in the other story, you know what I mean? And come out of the military and it's, I know my way now, Yeah,
right. And it's cool too. Like it's slowly, like up here in New York, they kind of slowly like CBD became legal or whatever. Like the CBD shops started opening up, and then like people were taking that, and then they're like, okay, let me try a gummy out. Like I see when at dispensaries, a lot of older folks getting the gummies. Or the vapes. You don't see them buying flower, pre-rolls, or anything like that. It's usually gummies. So you see that, and I think it's just kind of making it more acceptable. But like you go down to New York City, dude, it's like you just smell like nothing but weed in the air, and it's like, man, what happened to like the roasted peanut smell? And you want that old school shit. It just smells like sour diesel, which I'm not mad about either. So it's a win-win either way.
That's so crazy, dude. It hasn't been amazing along the way in the journey. Like I've been doing this for 18 years now. So I'm not very good at math. I'm kind of good, but I mean, to see the normalization, there was a big enough stink here in Denver with the smells, and we've gotten overregulated along the way. One of the, they always make us adapt through the years, and a lot of people had to drop money early on just because the neighborhood thought that it smelled like weed too much. Flash forward 15, 10 years from then, dude, like dudes are rolling down the street, you know what I mean? Like it's just weed everywhere, you know what I mean?
And it's, I mean, for the most part, like I know on a golf course or whatever, like it's like we're not disrespectful with it. Like if I get caught up with a random group or something, and like I could tell like some guy feels uncomfortable with me smoking, all right, I'm gonna hit my vape that round. Like I'm not gonna be an asshole and sit there and smoke a joint and blow the smoke at the guy. I'll hit my vape when I'm in the cart, kind of thing. You know what I mean? You'd be respectable about it. And that kind
I always say it's best to be able to like still think that grandma's over your shoulder, man. Like you're not trying to piss her off or get in trouble. You know what I mean? So I mean, there's some of the markets, like Oklahoma. I talk about Oklahoma a lot because I spent a little time out there, and they basically, you can smoke anywhere that you can smoke cigs, which I think is kind of the same thing Yep. But they're like they don't give a damn, you know what I mean? Like they just it just wafts everywhere, and everybody's doing it, So
it's wild. It's wild. So you had a story. The story that caught my attention was something about you doing some undercover work. I heard about it on the Clear Pod. You were mentioning it. What's that?
Man. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I came into the military as a pretty, wet behind the ears still kind of kid, dude. Like I didn't get into trouble a lot, dude. You know what I mean? And my first two roommates, active duty, got busted for having weed. We were all active duty on our active duty station, you know. So during all that time, I basically got recruited by, the undercover side of the military, and spent a little bit of time, learning and seeing that whole side. It was super, super crazy. Like, up until that point, I had only really seen someone walk into my, classroom with a briefcase and open it up with a big dare sign. And like, this is what this is, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden I'm thrown into, buying angel dust and buying fucking, acid. And I mean, you name it, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of folks that like to try to sell drugs to active duty member people, I suppose. So, yeah,
That's crazy. That's crazy. Like to be like, it was almost like a 21 Jump Street type thing for you. Like be young and then you're hopping into doing some, like you're still, you're in the military and stuff, but you're basically working. Like, I mean, getting into those situations at such a young age too would be the wild thing. But
it was super wild. It definitely sent my life in a different trajectory. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how
But
to make about life different for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I consider my military time, lifetimes ago, obviously, but also super forming because it taught me why I'm doing what I'm kind of doing now, which is fighting the green fight and standing up for, what I believe in. Even regardless of where you're at with where the world is at these points, dude, there are things you need to stand up and fight about. And one of the things that I really took note of is the medicinal side of cannabis. And, when it was medical only here in Denver and I was helping cancer patients at the end of their lives have a better time with their loved ones than just sitting there heaving and not being able to eat anything and being in pain the whole time. Or if I was helping a Crohn's patient that hadn't been able to keep any food down for months and was like dying because they're like, their Crohn's was so flared up, and, giving them half a joint. I always talk about one patient that I had back in 2009. He was on food stamps, so he was very limited. You know what I mean? Like he was on government aid, government everything. You know what I mean? So he had a paycheck cutting every 2 weeks to the T. He had his everything understanding about it, dude. But he had a really bad case of cancer, and he was such a really, really nice man. He battled it. I'm not for sure if he's still alive these days, but he lasted for a really, really long time. But he would come into the shop completely in pain, on edge, having gone through chemo, throwing up, having nutrition not nourished his body in long time, and he would have no money. I always say he would have no money. He would bitch about, dude, I don't have any fucking money. So that you're not supposed to, but that's when the fronting game, as being an ex-legacy dealer, fronting, there's reasons for fronting. So I would front this dude, all the time. And as soon as he gets done and he gets his check, he would come in religiously. But the asshole that he came in as, having not had weed and having going through all the medicine and shit, and then 3 days later, after he has his money and has smoked weed for 2 days, 3 days, and he's gotten his color back and he's gotten some sleep and he's got gotten some nourishment, like it's a miracle to see what she does, dude. You know what I mean? They ain't no meth, they ain't no fucking angel dust, they ain't no acid that's gonna do that. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's like the whole like the medicine side of it. It's like I said before, it's starting now. It's really starting to be realized because people weren't seeing the effects. People were just given pills because that was the only option. That was the only option, kind of thing.
Right.
Now this is an option. They're like, oh, I don't have to take these pharmaceuticals. Let me rub some CBD cream on my back. Let me pop a couple gummies. My shoulder hurts or whatever, or I can't sleep. Let me take some CBN. That kind of thing. Like it's making a huge difference for people on that side of it.
Well, and to go back to your original question, man, like I kind of didn't have a choice. I had to go undercover, man. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I was doing, and I had two friends get busted for what I thought was the worst fucking thing in the whole wide world. Right. And then like a month or two later, I'm out realizing what acid and meth and all this other shit does. You know what I mean? I'm buying from people and shit. You know what I mean? But like for me to have to live with kind of almost the guilt of having those two good young dudes get, you know, a hard time because of the weed. Granted, they're active duty and stuff, but it's
Sure.
not like they were on meth, and it's not like they were on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not robbing anybody. They're not stealing nobody. They're not hurting nobody. They're. I love the one. I think it's Cat Williams. The only thing a pothead's gonna do is they're gonna get really high. They're gonna sleep. You're gonna think they're dead, but they're not. They're gonna get up and they're gonna eat everything in your whole goddamn house. You know, It's one of those things.
Yep.
That's how it works, man. It's crazy. Like I know myself personally, like a lot of my friends, like smoke pot and never really did anything else. Like I've never done any other drugs besides smoking weed, and I don't even consider it a drug, really. You know, I consider it medicine, if anything. But,
I mean, you know, I can't say that it wasn't a gateway for me. I did check out other things.
sure.
You know what I mean? And you know, it gave me a chance to figure out, you know, a little bit of, you know, man-made, you know, versus natural, you know.
Right. That's the big thing right there.
For sure. And I'm super happy that I went through the experiences that I did, because I can share it with the youth that I'm around, you know, and let them know that they're not bad people for being interested in this. But this, you know, there's a reason why people get caught up and die on this stuff. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to be able to just kind of pass it along, you know, to be able to write the paradigm here, dude, get that full paradigm shift in our lifetime. Like I never thought growing up I was ever going to be able to say that I was professionally going to be in cannabis. Like when I was doing day on the job and shit back in junior high and fucking elementary and shit, felt like I was like, nah, man, let me go hang out with a dealer, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was like, dude, I went to the radio station. I saw, you know, I went to the local radio station and did day on the job radio station. You know what I mean? But to be able to say in my lifetime that we have that ability, we have podcasts that are about it. You know, we have patients on a daily basis that are being helped. The pharmaceutical whole industry has taken a huge, you know, loss because of everything. You know, we're making a difference. You know?
Really is. And they're still the government's still getting their money out of it from all these taxes and everything. Everybody's making their buck. I mean, and it's to the point now, like up here, the prices are all kind of evening out, like where they can't like overcharge for I don't know, like a $30 eighth is about, you know, average $30 to $45, depending on what you're getting, and you know, obviously name brands and stuff like that. But like that's about the going rate, and that's kind of what you were paying from legacy side of things anyway. So I mean,
everybody kind of starts out, especially when the market is new, of charge. Dude, when I got in, $85 for an eighth of top shelf, dude. You know what I mean? Like when that, you know, when it was like that, that's where everybody thinks that the industry was going to stay. You know, but once it normalizes and you're paying the right, you know, amount for your medicine, that just goes back to the medicine side of the whole thing anyway. Like I've always believed that if you have a medical card, like half the state, well, some of the state in Colorado has a medical card, but for the most part, we're all, you know, adult use. But I've always thought that if you have a medical card, you have to, you know, be on a state list, then you should be able to write off your medicine, or at least part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like the money that is being made through cannabis is not being filtered to the right places at all. You know what I mean? But
yeah, we're having an issue with our governor right now. She's trying to change to like, if you smell like cannabis, they can, it's a probable cause to search your car and all this thing, where right now they can't, it's not a probable cause because legally you can. So there's something going on with that.
It's crazy to watch all of the different markets kind of like evolve the ways that they do. But I mean, we all kind of finally, you know, fit into where it's supposed to kind of be. You know what I mean?
Finally flattening out for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So after you got out of the military, is that pretty much like after you did the little undercover stints, did you go into like law enforcement, or is that when you just went right into open up at dispensaries?
Nah, dude. Like,
which way did you go?
I went into the reserves for a really long time, served a little bit longer, you know what I mean? And that's actually when I started getting into cannabis more, because I knew that I could get cannabis out of my system in 30 days. So I would go and do my reserve week, and then the next weekend I'd be able to go smoke weed, and then I wouldn't smoke weed for another month, you know, until after the next one, you know. So I kind of learned that world, tried to grow up and get into the stoner world immediately. I learned a lot of the stoner etiquette from a lot of some OGs and stuff, you know what I mean? But I, I never really, like I said, thought that I was going to do the cannabis thing at all. We all kind of got steered in different directions, between military and getting into a dispensary, you know what I mean? But yeah, dude, it's been a crazy ride, man. Like I'm excited to see where it goes. I know that the government, I mean, we're all pretty much working for the government right now because of how much they're taxing us on this whole thing anyway, which will blow your mind at one point, you know what I mean? But
Nice.
but I mean, I don't know. I think that it's worth fighting for, and I think that we're gonna come around to it. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
I think
like you said though, I think it's all leveling out. Everything's fine. The people are coming into a more understanding of it, and it's really just gonna, the more I literally think, and it's, might sound a little crazy, but the more the merrier. The more people who get involved, the more people who get educated, it's gonna make it easier. It's almost like, a pay it forward kind of thing. Like when someone comes in and take the knowledge in of like, oh, okay, I tried it for the first time. Like say Betty goes out and tries, I took this gummy, I slept great. Well, she goes out to have coffee with the girl. She tells her friend, gives her one. Before you know it, the snowball effect kind of starts, and that's kind of what it's happening, but it's just a slow process.
it is. I think, I mean, other than financially, I think that the power of six, the 6 degrees of separation is starting to strangle down. One of the ways, as I said, as an ambassador, I would be her ambassador in many different ways and in many different lights. I've helped, the blackest of the black, the whitest of the white, the reddest of the red, the bluest of the blue, poorest, richest. I've been an ambassador along the way. And back in the day, it was very much, there was one side of this country that was super anti against it. And people would ask me all the time, like, what's that going to take? And I think that one of the things that really needed to happen was the financial aspect of it. And I think enough of the, I don't want to say red side, but anti-green side, has already been getting started to win over the financial side of it. But I think now the 6 degrees of separation being strangled down to 2 or 3 degrees now, because there's some anti-person whose wife's mother-in-law now has had a chance to examine her own relationship with her ailments and Lady Cannabis. You know what I mean? And now those people have gotten it's affected their lives personally. And that's the only other way that domino can fall, is the financial and the personal. You know what I mean?
It's happening. It's happening slowly but surely, man. Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
So I know you guys just did the launch with Jeter, and you guys have at Twisted Foot, you guys have a variety of different 3-packs coming out, right? I see you have a few options.
We do, man. We've been customizing a few of them, dude. Like I said, for Jeter, but we also have we're going to be launching our new general design one, the retail one. So like the eyeball pack and the good vibes pack.
Yeah.
And the alien pack.
Alien one, yeah, that's what I see.
Yeah. So we're getting our online shop all together and dialed up. We just got inventory in, so we're excited.
That's dope.
Yeah, dude. So we're hoping that these things finally have a chance to take off, man. Being able to play in the cannabis industry has been fun for the couple decades that I've been in. I spent my first decade as a bud tender in the retail area, just on the stage. I always said it felt like it was just on stage, man. I was just, throwing out products, dude, So, I used to compare myself to an octopus, cartoon octopus, just throwing out things, you know what I mean? But in the last decade, being able to still be able to play in the industry the ways that I have, by having a non-medicated product that can promote brands and throughout the whole nation, gives me the ability to work with Wild and, Colors with True Leaf, the Clear. Yep. We have these big fat ones for the Clear. If you haven't seen these 2-gram ones, we have a brand new one, a big one for the bigger ones, dude.
About it,
yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So we have other ones that are coming, man. We have the Clipper ones, and the big ones, you know what I mean? So And we have a few other new ones that we're dropping. The newest thing is the drop in the 3-packs. We'll be doing the retail.
Though, dude. That's really where it's at because you can get those in the dispensaries and all that too. So
that's the idea. We have conversations going with a lot of different distributors and whatnot. We just can't get the inventory in quick enough, you know.
Right.
So we're gonna grow as quick as we can. But it sounds like, you know, if you want to throw it out to your people, of course, you know what I mean. Like shout out New York, of course.
Yeah, I'll talk to. Let me know too. I can always talk to a few dispensaries up here in the Albany area and get you in there too.
That'd be dope. Yeah, we're like I said, we're gonna start out by selling them on our website, dude. So, but then once we have a little more cases involved, then we can kind of start sending them out to the dispensaries we are, you know. So, then you know Rihanna.
Yeah, Rihanna Tokes. Yep.
Yeah, she's so awesome. Did you see she's launching some stuff out there?
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen what she's doing. But
she's good. She just announced that she's gonna kind of do her own brand. So you got to talk to her again, man.
Oh, she is. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's Tokes on New York or Tokes.
Yep.
Yep.
Like that. Yeah. Tokes.
Gonna run her own, I guess. You know, but she's a rock star, bro. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like,
yeah. She had the New Moon cannabis thing she was cooking up, but I didn't.
I think she's still involved with them.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think she's kind of I think she's just too much of a rock star, you know what I mean? So she represents women and she represents women-owned companies so well in there. Like every market has those strong women.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most fortunate things of cannabis is being able to be, you know, a male in a women-dominated, women-led fucking industry. And I love it, dude. It's, you know, but I could see Rihanna really crushing it out there. She's got a lot of love, and
hustles,
I think it
man.
seems genuine.
She's hustles. She's always up to something. She's always on the move, like constantly doing something. Like she puts in the work. She definitely does. So shout out to her.
Yeah, man.
I have to hit her up and see what she's up to. I'll get her back on here.
Yeah, dude. She's always a fun talk. She's been busy, so she's been busy for even me to talk about. But the reason why I brought her up is because she helps us a little bit with the charms too. So when she's got some extra time, which is rarely.
Yeah, she's like I said, she's always on the move. But yeah, anyway, if you need any help, I'm more than happy to help you guys out. You guys
100%,
great
dude.
to me, for sure. Appreciate your time, brother. We'll definitely, if you guys got anything popping up in the future, we'll link up again for sure. And why don't you let the listeners know where they can find you?
Yeah, man. You can check out twistedfoot.com for any of the charms, and my personal stuff is at Budtender to the Stars on Instagram. That's just Budtender, TOTHE, and then Stars. You know, just a nickname that I got a long time ago.
Is there any meaning behind that?
There is, yeah, man. I was kind of a Budtender to a lot of stars. You know what I mean? So
okay, gotcha. And the legacy side of things.
What's that?
In the legacy side of things, or actual bud tender?
Well, actually, no bud tending in the legal side, dude. In the legal side of when it was popping off in Colorado, man, we had everybody wanted to come through here and get their weed, and so I got a chance to bud tend to a lot of really cool people, a lot of famous. Like I said, red to white, black to blue, dude. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Like
that's awesome.
So some famous ones that you would definitely recognize. One of them that I will definitely shout out is Ralphie May. Rest in peace, Ralphie May.
R.I.P. Ralphie May.
R.I.P. Dude, he was such a badass, dude. He was such a badass,
so funny,
dude. So.
Him and Joey Diaz, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Joey's still obviously going, but yeah, Ralphie, him and Ralphie were good friends, and that was
man. Yeah.
Always talking about him on the podcast and shit.
Ralphie was a good man, and he loved his weed, dude. I got him so fucked up, he ended up on TMZ.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah,
that's great.
So,
Twisted Foot, ambassador to the, or what is it?
Ambassador Chad, Budtender to the Stars.
Budtender to the Stars. Check them out. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Appreciate your time, and I appreciate everybody listening. We'll catch up with you on Tuesday. Later.
Roll up the green, hit the links with RGB. Pitch, putt, and puff, it's our podcast theme. Talking Burton Bogies, hole in one dream. Golf cart cruising, we're the illest team. Pitch, putt, and puff, light it up, hit the rough. Every swing's a story, we can't get enough. Hazards and hard times, we know it's tough, but we live for the game, fam, that's our stuff. Got my clubs in the trunk, blunt in the front, tee off in the noon, cause we don't bunt. Discussing the course, weed strains for lunch. Straight shooters on the greens, not a front. Pitch